It's February the 14th here in Japan. I guess that means it's Valentine's Day. And so to offer a little distraction from the series that's being worked on so far about absolutes and empiricism, I wanted to give you this video about sex and intimacy and love, I suppose to a smaller extent, but intimacy is what I want to talk about here. And I want to open it up to responses at the end, and hopefully we can together make something meaningful in this. You know, I think a discussion of intimacy really begins with an understanding of honesty. There is this terrible taboo surrounding sex. And it has everything to do, I think, with Christianity. And even if you call yourself an atheist, growing up in Western culture, you are likely to have your opinions about it. Now, I might not present myself as a particularly sexual individual. I look at some of my older videos, and I think you would have good reason to believe that I'm inert in that way. But I hope you can hold off your opinions until the end, and then you can judge me however you like. So, for a Westerner, for those of us in the West, and I say that because I'm living here in Japan, and there is a stark contrast concerning the subject of sex. I think we have this special challenge of reconciling this taboo for what is good advice within it and what is simply superstitious nonsense within the topic. You know, really, there's this idea that there's a difference between sex and lovemaking, and I rather don't like that. It seems to me rather that sex is just an excuse to be as intimate as physically possible, as affectionate as physically possible. And the rest of what we might consider a sexual play, like domination or submission or, you know, or high altitude kinds of stuff, or pinning someone down or being pinned down, or, you know, the fuzzy handcuffs or the gels or the whatever. All of that is just in lieu of creating a space between you and your partner that sort of gushes of self-disclosure. It gushes of this honesty. Now, I took a human sexuality course in college, and the textbook referred to sex as self-disclosure. I think that's a great way of doing it, a great way of talking about it. Because I think when you're young, and this is where I want to open it up to people here at the end, where you can talk about, say, advice that you had always wanted to hear, or that you would have wanted to hear when you were a kid, but had to learn on your own. But I think as a kid, we begin with this assumption that we have to be a porn star in bed, and many of us start out that way, and feel sexually validated when we perform like that. And we get older, and we have, you know, we love and we lose our first love, and we love again and we lose, or whatever, or have several, or none, or whatever the case might be for us. You get to a point where your perception about sexuality changes. All the while, the games of sex are still fun. The domination, the submission, the pinching, the pulling, the tugging gently, the high altitude stuff, the deep breathing, the sweating, the steamy, all that kind of stuff. But it all maintains itself as a means to a different ends. And it's for that reason I don't like to tease apart lovemaking with sex, because it really ought to be seen as one thing, and that the other thing can only be meaningful in context of the pursuit of a true intimate situation. You know, we celebrate Valentine's Day probably the best way a holiday could be celebrated, with chocolates and condoms. Anyone like to tell me that there's something better? I mean, what does that mean? I mean, the condoms, obviously, that's straightforward. But the chocolates, it's a showing of appreciation. It's a showing of affection. And as the song goes, and for all you schmucks out there like me, you hopeless romantics out there, it was probably popularized in your own mind, the phrase, the greatest thing you'll ever know is just to love and to be loved in return, from Moulin Rouge. Not from Moulin Rouge, I forget what the original song is, and it's so true, because sex is not a magical thing. There's nothing really particularly special about it, other than it's just as intimate as two physical bodies can possibly get. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. It's where the rubber meets the pelvic bone, if you know what I'm saying. And in that, it's the cosmos, really, or reality, is rather indifferent to it. So for sex to be something special, you have to bring something to it. You have to put something in it. You have to... I'm trying not to say inject something in it, but whatever. I mean, we play with innuendos all day, and maybe we should. This is the day to do it. But when you're with someone, and this is here, I guess I'll just wrap it up here and open it up to responses, text comments, video replies, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm not interested in the details of your sex life. And perhaps you ought to be told that nobody is. Some people out there need to be told that. What I'm rather interested in is for you to imagine that, say, a 15-year-old or a 14-year-old guy or girl would be watching this video right now. And it's a 15-year-old that you care for, that you want to be happy, that you feel like you might be able to help if you could give them a little bit of advice about intimacy, about relationships, maybe about sex, maybe about whatever the case may be. For you, what was that one thing that you wish you knew at an early age, that you had to find out the hard way? To start us off, mine would be to realize that intimacy is about honesty. And then if you can cultivate a sense of honesty, a practice of honesty, that permeates your whole sense of self. And when you're in an intimate situation, you don't click, which is so easy to do, to sort of click into an alternate ego, where this is the sex personality, where you suddenly become aloof, and you just, suck on each other's skin. But rather, my advice would be to be fully aware of what's going on, and to present yourself in a way that is to say, here I am, come what may. And the innuendos abound. So, happy Valentine's Day, and I hope you can spend it with someone intimately and affectionately.